Got a Photoshop question? Brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. It's Ask Dave.
This week the question comes through Twitter. Joe M. Photo asks, is it possible to undo part of when you've used the sharpening tool or the sharpening brush? Well, it is, but honestly there's a way that I think you'll find that in CS5 particularly it's even easier, and that is to make sure that this option up at the top called Sample All Layers is turned on. If that's not turned on, that pretty much says, okay, you must sharpen right on the background layer, and I'll overdo it to the point where you go, yikes, okay, that's bad. Well, here you could use the history panel and kind of look and say, wow, I did a lot of sharpening here. So one option would be to get the history brush. Now I've already resized this image, so I'd have to go right here in the history panel, and this would allow me to undo it back to the way it looked before. That's okay, but here's the one problem with using the history brush for anything. That only works right now while the document's open. As soon as I close it, I don't have the option anymore. So what I would do instead is add a new layer and then go back to the sharpening tool, but this time make sure Sample All Layers is turned on. So what that means is it's going to put the results of my sharpening on a layer by itself. So I'm going to, again, overdo it. So you can see, and let's sharpen up her hair. And I have the settings pretty high, and I'm also going over the same area more than once. So that's what's creating this sort of extra effect here. So we'll just do a little bit, and again I'm going to kind of go back over her eyes so that we're starting to say, okay, that's a little much. Well, look what's happened in the layers panel. If I hide the background, all the sharpening areas are on a layer by themselves, which means a couple of interesting possibilities. First of all, I can save it this way, so when I come back later I can still change my mind. Secondly, I could do an overall kind of say, you know what, that's a little too much, let's just lower the opacity. And now you lower the opacity, that's kind of like undo on a slider, so you can put the sharpening back the way you want. Or if you realize that you did a little too much in her lips because now her teeth kind of look green, then I could take my eraser tool, and what I would do is put the eraser at a lower opacity. So now I'm just kind of gradually erasing until it looks the way that I want. And I'm of course just making sure that I'm on the correct layer when I do that. So it gives you a couple of options, but I think the best option, quite frankly, is the idea of doing the sharpening onto this separate layer, because then you have a very simple way to change your mind even after you've saved it.
Ask your short Photoshop question using the contact form here at Kelby TV or through Twitter at Dave Cross. Thanks for watching Ask Dave, brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals and the Dave Cross Workshops. We'll see you next time.